That's it. The blue button is on. We are live today, Tuesday, the 6th of March, 2018. We have on the panel so far the big guy, Rich, from the UK, Astral's living in Denmark, Patricia's UK, and we have special guest David, who's UK. So hello, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Hello.
I went to write down the title of what David's going to talk about today, but I've actually just asked David. David, what's the topic?
Law, common law, private law, public law, universal law, natural law, all associated laws like law of attraction, power of intent. These are the things that we are currently utilising and promoting throughout the domains that we're on.
Yay. So, how long have you known Rich then? Because obviously you're a friend of the beer guys. How long have you known Rich for?
Approximately a year and a half since he's been a member of the Facebook domain that we have, Sovereign Paralegals. He's interacted, made himself known through there, so our friendship's been primarily through that.
Yay. Well, that's good then. You're making some more friends now.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting.
Yeah. And did we do what the topic's going to be? Did we? Oh, yes, you did that. You said that, so it's quite a long thing. Where would you like to start then?
I don't know if anybody. Normally, I'm used to answering questions or going through the history or the direction where we're at, or there's a lot of readjustment of remedies at the moment, or alleged remedies, and confusion in the various at law levels. So if any of you've got any questions or anything you'd like to ask, or what we do, where we're going, we're currently building a .com to get off the public domain of Facebook and set up a private express trust, or an express private trust. So there's a lot going off at the minute, to be fair. Yeah,
that's it sounds good. Can I ask you a question? This is now to do with sovereignty, because you said that something about you have a sovereign paralegals and what have you.
yeah.
Do you think delve a little bit into that about sovereignty, because that really interests me, and I'm sure it interests a lot of other people as well, you know, if it's a feasible, you know, viable option.
Yeah, by all means. I initially, when I want to discover the implied meaning and definition of a word, I've been trained now to look at the various sources of that word through the use of it. So we have phonetics in a word, and we have history in a word, and we have the translation. There's a lot that goes into a word. So we often find that the Black's Law dictionaries have a implied meaning and definition specific to that legal terminology, and then we find the Oxford and other such concise public dictionaries have a definition of the word that is completely opposite in contrast to the legal term. So an example for that would be suffer. In the legal realm, to suffer is to allow by definition, but in our realm, the Anglo-Saxon non-legalese realm, the common law type with non-legalese language, babble as we call it, that means to suffer at the hands of, to feel pain. So the word sovereignty, in my opinion, after dialect research, phonetics, looking at the Phoenicians, listening to Santos Bonacci and doing a lot of research, means that you are without a ruler, you are sovereign, you are in your own divine right, you are self-governing, you are governed, but you are self-governing, and you are in the composed body of the Holy Trinity, the mind, body, and soul, and that would be sovereign. You are in your sovereign capacity, and you would be under the Creator or your particular belief of the system. You know, we don't think we are the be all and end all. We just believe that we don't have to always, you know, bow and say submit to this. We can choose by consent. So you have the ability to consent in your sovereign capacity. If you don't have the ability to consent, we are not sovereign, and we might be slaves, in which case we need to ask who is the master. There you go. I tried to keep that short.
Ability to consent mental
Cool.
health and disability. It's interesting to know his opinion on ability to
Ask him.
No, Dan. No, I don't want to. Don't put it on me.
Oh, there's no
You ask
camera.
him. You ask him.
Sorry, I couldn't get my microphone back on. It all went quiet then, and you were talking away then. It's a bit slow, my computer. You were talking away and then you just stopped. I was like, oh,
I think
couldn't get my-
Richard. Sorry, I think Richard's girlfriend is going to ask something, isn't she? You're going to ask something.
She wants to, but she don't want to speak.
Can you ask it then, Richard?
Right, also. What?
His opinion on his consent, disability, and mental
The ability to consent.
suffering. That's like
Yeah. What would be the ability for say mentally ill people
or disabled people.
or disabled people for the rights of sovereignty? And the way I see it, when you're saying that you're a layman, then does that mean that we can still claim the sovereignty even if we haven't got a capacity to do so? Can we then hand it over to someone and let someone else like aid us?
Or would you be on about the Queen there when you say somebody else handing over sovereignty to somebody like the Queen and the Royal Jubilee, and we have to hand over power to appoint somebody in power, and if we don't have the correct power, how would we appoint somebody in power? Is that, you need to be more specific. I'm a little bit confused, buddy.
Yeah. I think it was more for, can we give family say someone's mentally ill, can they give family members the right to like consent for on their behalf?
Yeah, of course you can. So I get you now. I forgot that bit at the beginning. Forgive me. I was up at 5 a.m. today. I'm a slave master for a warehouse, so I finished 2 p.m. Our kid come home from school at 3:30ish, and I went to add a 2-hour kip. So I'm a little bit dazed because it's now what, 8:30. So
Those afternoon kips, eh?
Grandad kip, we call it, power nap. It used to be a power nap when I was 25. Now the Grandad kips.
Oh.
So, let me focus. Power of attorney. I have recently gained this for some of our beneficiaries of our trust. So, what we would say when somebody is mentally or physically, intellectually, any kind of incapacitation, and they are now unable to deal with their own person's affairs, which is their affairs, but they have to deal with their person's affairs in reality. So, we would obtain power of attorney, and there are various types of power of attorney: general power of attorney, lasting powers of attorney. We would submit that, and I've done so successfully, and I'm currently acting with power of attorney, but with regards to an agent capacity, and I'm an agent dealing with agents of a law enforcement agent and body. I won't say the names and stuff, but I'm dealing with the judicial department and the head of the judicial department, and I liaise with notices and following the CPR rules and keep them on notice on behalf of the beneficiaries currently that I've chosen to aid and assist: the elderly, the weak, the vulnerable, the ones that we consider immediate harm, injury and loss. I, as well as working a 40-hour week, I'm a trustee for the Facebook trust at present, and you can seek lasting power or general power of attorney to help somebody that is incapacitated, because legally they are deemed able and fit, and until you notice the system and the health authority, they're deemed capable to deal with their own affairs. And if you don't notice the legal construct, the health body, so forth, that there is a new power of attorney, they could take guardianship themselves and seize estates and put controlling forces in. So there's a new claim come in that I need to look at regarding seizure of property with an elderly lady. Funny you should mention, but yeah, you can get various powers to aid these family members or even strangers. We would call them beneficiaries to the trust, and we'd use these legal constructs to enforce their human rights and their current rights, and stop them from getting in any harm, injury and loss.
Does that answer things for you there a bit, Richard, or your girlfriend?
It does for me, but I can't speak for Steph.
It just was.
All right, there we go. Yeah,
What did she say? So
it's all coming together. She's saying that she could do that. What David were on about, opening the trust and being the carer of the vulnerable people and the attorney as well. She seems to enjoy calling people like bailiff companies and getting them to stop coming around. Getting them to pack the bags and go off. She's pretty good at that.
Brilliant.
also, thank you for representing the needy and the people who need help. Thank you.
It's I must say that I'm overloaded. We've got an excellent family. We're not a group. We are primarily residing on the Facebook domain. We're just over 2 years old and are just under 3,000 initially members, but now beneficiaries by default by agreement to the pinned post, which they've all tacitly agreed to by acquiescence. They're in a law group, so they need to read stuff, and it's not all on me. I have got the group there, so anybody that doesn't want to contract with the Law Society, please. Temple BAR. Sorry about that, Arthur, with a message from the dark side. We're there for these brothers and sisters, we'd call them, extended family members, because we seem to be very fragmented in our opinions of one another, society, our knowledge, health, education, everything really. As I've watched on your channel with Dave Murphy the other week on the Earth subject. So I've put this group together, which has turned out to be a family and ultimately a trust through the development of our learning and the application of the already existing processes brought by Get Out of Debt Free, John Harris, lots of people that have been in England doing this and trying to convert from USA to UK Anglo remedy and construct knowledge of the matrix itself, and disabled, sick, vulnerable, elderly. They especially are easy targets for this state, for these lot, and their pre-action protocols that take into effect with no consideration for emotion, no feeling for if you're recovering, if you're ill, if you're sick. If you've got mitigating circumstances, if you don't tell them, the machine takes over and it eats you up, and that's unacceptable. It really is.
And just for people who don't know, okay, because a lot of people don't know, and we're hoping to reach out to other people. Could you just explain what this whole thing about? I mean, obviously I understand a bit more than a lot of people. Rich, and you understand a lot more than a lot of people. But is there any way you could just explain this bit about sovereign? People might not understand. Anybody new who's listening into this, just to explain it. Is that all right?
Turn my mic back on. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. If you look up the word sovereign definition, you will find terminology about monarch and rulers and rulership. And I have to be careful here, because one that exercises supreme permanent authority, especially in a nation or other government unit, as a king, queen, or other noble person who serves as chief of state, a ruler or monarch, a national governing council or committee. So I would argue that I'm a monarch. A mon meaning coming from one, and arch coming from ruler, linked by the arches that we see everywhere. Arches mean ruler, rainbow, rabo, the golden arches, symbology. So mon, arch, I am a one ruler of my governing self body. This is the way that I interpret, and so do the beneficiaries and members that come into sovereign paralegals, either asleep, as it's put, at an intermediate understanding level, confused still, or at a high alert level with successes behind them, in knowledge of trust and equity, and the three-tier court system, the language, the phonetics, the templates, the everything really. It's a big journey, but the sovereignty ultimately is rulership. So if we are governed by consent and we beat the opposition in the Second World War, namely Hitler, and we stopped oppression and invasion and foreign forces coming into rule into the landmass England, Anglo landmass, formerly known as the United Kingdom Trust Corporation, then we are still free. And if we are still free, then we have choice. And if we have choice, then it doesn't matter what this system may presume and assume. If you look at the assumptions and presumptions of law, then you find out quickly that you are bound and tied by this system's constraints. So we are not submissive to it. We are aware of it. And because we are aware of it, we exist within it, we are sovereign, because we don't let the mandated statute codes rule on us 24/7. I am now David, the private man, if you like, so when I clock on and go to work, I lose my sovereignty and I choose to submit my rights for a full 8 hours to get my wages and income and job and get the hours in, of which I've now chosen to quit. And my last working day of employment is the end of March. And then I'm working for the trust. So you get where you lose your sovereignty and where you choose, and there is that consent. We are governed and policed by consent. If there is no consent, we're in a dictatorship. If we're in a dictatorship, we're not free to choose. If we're not free to choose, then we have no rights. If we have no rights, we are slaves and we're not sovereign. Things like that. It's our opinion. You need to look at the things that I'm mentioning and make your own opinion. Certainly, it's not just Elizabeth that's sovereign, no, as we're often led to believe, or the monarchy. But monarchy is one ruler. You look at the word and the breakdowns and stuff, and you make your decisions.
But a lot of people don't know that, though, do they? Because you can get your Mr. Thrive and Survive was talking about getting your house back, getting your house and being sovereign of your own house.
Yes, I understand. I'm not sure about what that was, but what technique and methodology.
Sovereignty.
It's a broad term. It's like you often see, it's as I've read in that paragraph there with the definition. We would consider we are sovereign as a monarch. We are self-governing, because it's defining sov in SOV-ER-IN. You break it down and you look at the phonetics and the history of it and why it's applied to the monarchy and the status and capacity. That's another thing. Like when you would present at court, a court invitation for a civil matter would have you. It would require that you attend, and it would require that you appear. So with regards to your sovereignty, you have a status and a capacity, and our status and capacity are not dictated to by a birth certificate that's registered and bonded with the bondsman at the General Register's office, and then your claim of right is given into trust. In our opinion, this is not legal advice. It's not anything that you need to go and get moving on. But in our studies and opinion, you lose your sovereignty by taking the name that is not yours. And when you take the name in vain, or you use Father's name in vain, you will not be serving from redemption. You'll be seeing the cross of fiction. You're before the cross of fiction, and the cross of fiction is crucifixion, and the justice is what died on the cross. In my opinion, again, this is not anybody else's opinions, but what I've put together. And in regards to your sovereignty, so at a court, they will try to get you to get joinder with the all caps name, the Foreign Sitters Trust. And that's something you shouldn't claim. You shouldn't claim that name. And they will ask you, who are you? I'm David. David who? That's it, David. I'm here today as the authorized representative and agent of Mr. all caps David Giaramita. I'm a sole shareholder to the birth certificate. So I choose my capacity by my choice, by the knowledge that we seem to have accumulated and devised along with others, not just us. And we keep our sovereignty. We don't trade it through deceptive measures, which are written in 1,000 years old biblical text and warned about. Again, it's quite deep. Do your own research, make notes.
Yes. So someone in the chat room was talking about those capped letters. So capped letters means, when it's in caps, it means something, and you don't want to be that person in caps. Basically.
Correct. Yes, it's normally connected to finance, to the accounts like driving license, bank account, national health insurance number, internationally monetary fund issued, IMF and NHS numbers, your NI number, your driving license, your passport, and as our brother Steve McRae pointed out and shared with us some months ago, if you go to his website, it's expertinlegalmatters.com, and you go and look at that fidelity.com. I need to put my phone on mute. And you look at fidelity.com and you start putting in the bond numbers from these documents and your birth certificate and your passport or driving license. You do come up with things, and these are the all caps names, so it looks like it's a foreign citizen with the Roman civil system, the Vatican, and they've got records of live births and stuff connected with bonds, along with the Sestu KV, which we found out about. So there's 2 trust funds that we see held in 2 different names, copyrighted of your name. So again, this is down to your sovereignty and how you want to act upon it, with it, interface, sail on the seas of commerce. It's all down to personal choice, and they say ignorance is no defense, but we don't get a chance at any point in time to defend ourselves. When you become 18 in the United Kingdom, the landmass England, at 18, this present legal law system that these lot are running say you are now fully legally liable for public everything, your actions, the repercussions, the liability. And if we're not trained in school on how to interface with this system, we quickly find ourselves paying for it. And the money system's not explained either. The money in the fractal banking and the reserve, and how these lot get us into that, getting a job as soon as we leave school, become a slave or learn. If you learn, you're going to cost 30 grand. So there's a lot that we should be having for free, and we don't, because we're tricked and we're a bit thick, I think, on that front. We're a bit naive.
Well, we were very naive, but thanks to people like you, we're gaining ground, and obviously, getting somewhere. Hopefully we can get even further, But I have a question. Do you have some sort of, well, obviously you've got a website or something, haven't you? Are you planning on having one soon? Do you have like any kind of forms on there that people can download, or, information that they can take for themselves, kind of thing, or their circumstances, in that sense? Or is it just that you need to have a talk to people and find out exactly what their circumstance is? Do you know what I mean?
Each circumstance and case that we would get given from a member or beneficiary is unique, and we need to, even if the PCNs or council tax or landlord issues, you're right, they are generic in their complaint style, but we would need to look at them individually. The issue that I'm having, I'm not trying to be blowing my own trumpet, but the promotions are going really well. I think the YouTube receivership of the information, the interaction, the love from the viewers, the way that the viewers are making friends and like talking to each other whilst I'm doing a video chat, it's incredible, the power that's behind all of this. But ultimately, there are a lot of confused and needy brothers and sisters out there that are needing direction and structure, and they are getting eaten alive, and they're paying a lot of money in quite some circumstances to go on courses and sign up and travel about to quite far away places, often abroad, attend seminars, to come back and not really have much remedy. And they're also trying to go to court and do what we did a couple of weeks ago and defend on a claim made by a traffic enforcement officer. We resulted in the claim and the charges being dropped and reasonable doubt in the magistrates, and the traffic officer's ticket and complaint was not upheld due to he didn't have proof of claim. But we was very lucky in some instances to do that, but we had to do it to show that, one, what we say and what we practice and what we research and what we publish is actually quite bang on. It's still a bit of a risk, but we can prove now with substance, over form and stuff like that. So the need for the website is because Facebook is Facebook. It's not ours. It's not our domain. We do not own it. We know who it's owned by, the subsequent affiliates, and how it advertises and markets, and the AI that's on there is unreal. So the trolls and the shills, as you know, you guys are equally at threat of that. Richard's informed me about the rubbish that you get with the bombs and stuff on the video feed. So information is being suppressed, guys. Information has been bottlenecked for far too long. So I don't believe I will ever see remedy, because I've put my face everywhere. and said, as Indigo Child and Indiglo now, what I see it as, and if the state hadn't kept my children, my property from me, and made me spend 2 years and go to a high court and have a barrister to get a court writ that's basically ineffective and was a total farce, I'm furious. So I've suffered parental alienation because of this legal constraint. I've first-hand experience, emotional experience of it, and instead of getting angry, I'd like to get even. And for that, I'm going to have to pay a price in some respects. But if I can use this new trust technology that's appeared and the successes and the remedies that we're currently applying to have wins with, then this is a win for all of us, all our brothers and sisters. It's not a magic remedy and fix to every case, but we can get blueprints and things out there from the website. We have a target of 400 PDFs that I've collated over my research over the last 7 years, which are going to be uploaded, kept private. It's a private domain. It is beneficiary only. So I'm the settlor, I'm the allodial title owner. I will put the website domain, a bank account into a trust as a resin property and assign it to the trustees. They will manage and own the website and the bank account, and then this website will grow with the men and the brothers' input, the contributions, membership, and they will control how the funds then get kind of distributed, and the site will grow according to demand and requirements. So we are quite broad with what we're looking to cover. What we have got is a resource-based library which is indexable and searchable, and it covers thousands of years of law history, and you can use dates, times, keywords, all of the document title, one word. We've spent a lot of time to build this, and it's been over 8 months so far, so we have delayed it quite a lot with the launch and to go live, but it cannot go live until the trust has been built, declared, established, trustees in place, all the 3 certainties, everything that a trust needs to be defined in law, and it's private and it's not a charity, so it's quite complicated to get all this together. But the people are helping, the brothers and sisters are giving direction. We're asking what they want, we're hearing what they want, and now we're putting it in place. So that in itself is fantastic, because they have some ownership of it as well as it being put into trust.
That sounds amazing. I don't think there's many websites like you, is there?
No, the government, it is like in effect to trustees, and they should have done this with the national insurance number, which is your indemnification number, and which is what you can draw upon as debtor creditor to offset your charges for your municipal charges, electricity, gas, things like that. So yeah, the government is how, as we consider, and as you will consider when you embark on the trust and equity knowledge in like more detail, you are the debtor, but you're also the creditor. By you being born or birthed, as they call it, we are born in nature, but you are birthed in law. And when you're birthed, the credit note is bond is created at the registrar's office. So by you being physically placed into this reality, this matrix of which we're in, they create a bonded certificate, entry in a book, copyright your name, clone your name, copyright it, fractionalize it in accounts and trusts, off they go, and they start monetarizing you, but they don't tell you that. And you don't reach the age of majority. As I said earlier, when you become 18, legally, you're at the age of maturity. You can start paying now and you can be locked up. You are now an income-based resource asset to the state, and they own that name, and you're claimed it, so you're operating under that, and you're wearing the persona. When we take that off and we learn about the trust and the equity and the private and the public and the separation and how to rescind that bond and possibly obtain remedy for the CQV or the Foreign Sitters Trust, then that would be absolutely amazing. But we're quite a way off it. But we have Steve McRae, Richard Antar, Santos Bonacci, Winston Shrout, lots and lots of legal advisory talkers from America, Australia, the Commonwealth, all over Facebook, and you guys and stuff like the Goldfish Bowl. Their reports are brilliant. So it's a combined family effort. It's not us, it's not me by any shot. It's a master brain. As I say, I have to name drop like Alan Watts. Search Alan Watts. If you've got a pen and paper, enjoy Alan Watts, and also look at Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Yourself Rich. And when you look at the quantum side of life and manifestation and the laws, we employ the natural laws to beat the man-made physical laws. And it seems that the natural laws and these intentions and stuff are quite powerful. And as a collective mind, we can overcome almost anything, as we've proven. Yeah.
So how long have you been into this then? How long have you been doing this whole thing? How long has it taken you? And like, what did you sort of like, is it something about like flat earth and all this kind of stuff that you've known a long time, or is it something that's just last couple of years? Just asking.
My knowledge base on Indiglo channel, that's existed for about 5 years. I had a different one that the YouTube deleted because of they didn't like the angle where we was at. But on Indiglo, there are probably 30 playlists, and there may be 2,500 video links. And I've done 120 odd myself, and out of them 2,500, the topics are phenomenal. I am an inquisitive mind, and for me to go out and go on this law. Rebellion against the taking away of my property as the man. Why should I be denied by paperwork and after fighting for my property by the such things as the Data Protection Act, rights to my property? So when you start looking at another, if you've got a pen and paper, Chiron Last, CHRION he does phenomenal work on phonetics. So when I
Sorry, David. Can you say that again?
Chiron Last. Yeah,
Chiron.
CHRION. CHIRON. It's Chiron like that. CHIRONLAST. And he does something like the 3 videos that are on our website as free for you to watch as introductions are the Richard Ansar and some of this Chiron Last, because the word child comes from chilled and children, and I've looked at the phonetics of it. And look, when I went to research law and children and property, by me encompassing a full 360 research circle, I ended up delving in areas I didn't think I'd ever delve into, which is the occult and the dark stuff, and why property is property, what is of the land, what is of the sea, how this law and constraints come into place, and you go backwards in time. That's how I found Santos. So it's this journey is about my children and access to it, and we set up primarily to get access to property. And it seems that vehicles and children, here's an example, like the V5 registration logbook stipulates on there, if you should choose to submit and fill that in for your property, it says at the top, this document does not prove ownership. Now that's because it's a legal disclaimer in the area of agreements, and we would construe it as you initially have some property, a pleasure craft, and you would then look to legally conform, fill out a document which then gives your driver details, your all caps, and you go to the driver vehicle licensing agency, that's the key word there, agency, and you submit that with your person's equitable asset, which is a signature. Your bonded paper, your trust accounts, your straw man cannot sign anything, they're dead, but they do exist in a 2D reality. So when you put that mask on and assume that, you can sign for them. So that signature that you think is your signature, everyone that signs presently is not signing for you, you're signing on behalf of that account. So that account is saying that this is property given to that agency. So you lose at that minute before you sign it. You've got the full allodial title. You're at the top. You are the settlor. You bought that property, personal item, pleasure craft, automobile, and it's yours. When you fill in that logbook and you consent and sign it off in the realm of trust, you become from the owner and title owner at the top to somewhere down here, which is a legal trustee, and you give away your title. Like actors have a title, a surname is a title. Hello, sir. Sir is a title. Your surname is a title. So when you give away that title of ownership and full allodial title and ownership in trust law, and you give it to the DVLA, they become at the top. They have exclusive property and rights and ownership, and you get what's called possessory rights in trust. But you don't know you're in a trust, but you don't need to know you're in a trust to be in a trust, because just like the deep dark maxims of law, that's their rules. So ignorance is no defense, and you're back in that situation. So you can't tell me that I've accidentally registered my child, my property, they call it a child, and I've given away full legal title to a state that I didn't know was doing that to me. And now I found out that that kind of decision must already crumble. It must be dissolved, because you are expressing the correct relationship in that arena, you know. So I've linked a vehicle with a child there. They're two very, very serious, you know, one's a serious thing, one's a material object, but the process seems to be the same. So that's why sovereign paralegals appeared, because I went, I'm looking at children, and I've just found out that vehicles are classed the same as children, and that's the same ruling of public law, statutory mandated public law. But it turns out it comes into trust and equity, and it's not nice at all. So that's what we're exposing and being a part of. What do you think about that?
Wow, it sounds like you're almost like a solicitor.
No. I'm insulted as
Sorry,
solicitor.
maybe that's the wrong words now, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the new world, the new way. Sorry, I wouldn't say that, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, solicitors are classed as prostitutes. They sell their time for money. I'm not saying anybody is a sexual, you know, deviant in a solicitor realm. No, that's not what I'm saying. But the functionality of the process is you go to them, you have a claim, and you need defending and helping. Equality is paramount, but they just say, what's up? Oh, that's going to cost you. It's going to be this much. And they represent you. So when you present and you are represented, they do what's called it's called something like barratry and personage. So your person is handled, you are not. So when I went to the High Court to get access to the property, children, and I was fighting for access with the mother, and I had a barrister. My barrister represented my 2D legal fiction. So this is where we got the represented bit from. When you present, or when you attend and you appear, I might attend at a court, but I'm not making an appearance, because an appearance is what a ghost does, or it just appears out of nowhere. I'm here, you will hear my voice, you know I'm coming, I've made the time and place, I may have a fee schedule, and I'm coming in the capacity of the private man, and I'm addressing my public legal fiction with the title to the bond, you know what I mean? So the solicitor doesn't tell you any of that. And if you go to any legal civil or criminal, if you take a brief with you, in the eyes of the law, you're viewed as a child, because you can't represent and handle yourself in a status and capacity that's deemed, you know, competent. So because you're not competent, that solicitor, who's in the circle of the society, the police, the judges, the barristers, everybody that's, you know, all the Crown, the CPS, the inner London, they're all in that gang, and you're not. You're the only one that's not. So why would you go and hire that solicitor who's in that gang with all them, and you're going to ask him for help, and they just go, ha, 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 another sucker, let's slaughter them. And that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. So it's solicitors are not the cleverest of
They're also not expecting the people to understand any of the law, are they, either? And what it means.
Ignorance is our foot of demise, and it's not like we're going to pick this up easily. So nobody wants to learn this. You know, the acts and statutes are in the hundreds of thousands. The documents are hundreds of pages of long. It's boring. It's interesting. It gives you a headache, but it's interesting, and that's what keeps me going on, because I like to eat it up. But it's hard work, which is where you need the master brain and the Sovereign Paralegals Facebook. Without the admins and the moderators in there over the last 2 years, building this up and defending it and keeping the thread where it needs to be and not deviating from the path and being vigilant. That's what, you know, in acting in equity as the man, as the private, and being honourable. We was already doing this. If I may, and I'll go on a bit, but I'm trying to be reserved, believe it or not. But if I may,
no, that's okay. We asked you to come on and have a chat, didn't we? So thank you very much, and for telling us. The chat room are loving it.
Brilliant, excellent. I'm trying to be reserved and take my time, but here we go. There's a trust situation that we all know about, and then people say, or you know, brothers and sisters, family members say, what is a trust? How does it exist? Do you need special paperwork? Do you have to pay? How much is it to learn? And I'm like, stop. You have a child. Say there's you and your wife, and you have a child, and the husband and wife would like to go out for the evening, and they go on the internet and they hire the local registered babysitter, and the babysitter turns up at the appointed time to conduct the service, and the parents open the door, the babysitter enters. Well, in this situation, you've got the two parents, they have a position in the trust. You have the baby who has a position in the trust, and you have the babysitter who has a position in the trust. And as a trust, there are always 3 positions, and it's always as a triangle. And there are 3 positions, which are trustee, beneficiary, yes, and then you've got the settlor. So as I said earlier, I own the website and bank account and property, allodial title deed holder. So I'm at the top. The settlor is always at the top in the king position. And then you have options for trustee and beneficiary here. I'm not going to go into the rules of it. I'll keep it simple. So you've got a babysitter, the 2 parents and the baby. And I've explained whoever owns the property would be the trustee, and you have an optional here for trustee and beneficiary. So who would you think would be the trustee and beneficiary in this situation first? Let me ask.
For the parents.
They would be something else because they might own the property. I'll give you a clue. So if you own the property, you're what? You're
The master.
the settlor. You own it. You're the settlor, the allodial title deed holder, the property holder. You've got the bill of sale. You and your husband created that human, man, baby, soul, entity, holy trilogy. So it's a product of your labors, yours and your husband's. So the people at the top are the parents. They own the property, which is unfortunately in legal terms a child is property. So that's how it's termed. So the settlor, the title and the property owners are the parents, and the beneficiary, or the beneficiary here would be the baby, because that baby's going to benefit, the property will benefit from having a trustee as a babysitter there, because the parents are going to make an agreement, a written agreement, because the trustee is the babysitter. She or he doesn't make the agreement. They turn up and say, hello, I'm John, Susan, I'm here to do the babysitting for tonight. You've booked me, security code, enter. And the parents go, here's the deed. Here's not the deed, sorry, that's going too far. Here's the instructions. Here's the trustees' duties. We'll call them duties. So they give the trustee, the babysitter, duties. Feed at a certain time, bed at a certain time, check on them every hour. If all is well and good, when the parents come back and the house is in one piece, the child is looked after and asleep, as agreed, the trustees filled out their duties in the capacity of the trustee, then the parents will honour that agreement and pay the babysitter. So that is how the trust works. The baby is the beneficiary, because if there was no babysitter and the parents went out, that's where you have Madeleine McCann's circumstances and babies getting stolen and dying and burning and stuff. So you legally need to have somebody in presence of your child when you leave it. If you can't be responsible, the law says, you're governed by that common law. So everybody uses a trust. Everybody uses a trust and sets one up without a court, without any paperwork, without any training, and they don't know. But what we'll do is say, hey, there isn't that complicated. You're currently doing it, and here we can set like the layman's terms out and set courses and videos, resource-based libraries, chat forums, monitor it, and I will appoint agents in this trust that I'm talking about physically for the website and the bank account. There will be agents on the website, trustees that monitor and govern the safety of everything. And present, I'm getting overloaded with emails and requests and quite deep and intricate cases or situations of brothers and sisters that want help now immediately. And I'm still employed as in servitude for 40 hours. And I've got my own family, biological here, to look after myself, the website to build. So it's very hectic at the moment, hence my tired eyes, but it's going well, guys. It's going well.
Yeah, and all done differently, not done under, what is it? It's we dock into a port kind of law. You're doing it differently. So how long has it taken you for this concept then? Is it something that you've done with other people, but you're doing it, or it's your concept of how to? We
are lucky because we are like squirrels. What we do, we just squirrel away. We're researching. I'm very lucky to have, again, the admins. I will not take any of the credit. I am more of a facilitator, and I have got a dyslexic, autistic brain that is as an adult is coming in useful for putting fragmented bits of information and acts and dates and times and definitions, and it manages to hold it in. So as a child I struggled. As an adult, I've appointed the admins and the moderators in Sovereigns on Facebook, and they are bringing to the forefront what they are finding from squirreling away and going in various you know, dark and deep places and coming back out unscathed. You know, some people go and research and they find something and go, oh, this is the one, and they go off and do it. But we don't do that. We bring everything back and collect it like squirrels do nuts, and then we have a look at everything, find the big fat nuts, work the way down to the smallest nut, and then we go and we extrapolate, we compare, we contrast, and that's too big for me just alone. So hence the call for help, and the manifestation of the group are primarily to look at the language of law, and then the structure of law, the tier of law, the secret law, the history of law, Babylon, and everybody like Walter Vaith. If you've got a pen, Walter Vaith needs a good look at as well. If you haven't seen him, he's incredible, as well as Santos, to get the timeline of the history of the law. And yeah, fantastic. It's there, it's all there to find. It's not secret, it's there if you look.
It's amazing. Thank you then, and thank you for having like this, like you've mentioned, community a few times. It's such an important thing. It's without it's with the people.
Exactly.
In the chat room, someone's mentioned it. We went on a hangout with Mr. Thrive and Survive. He said he was just joining for, you know, to listen, and by the end of it, he'd bought a name for a web page called peopleforpeople.life. And someone in the chat room was just asking when this is up and running, because there will be obviously a legal side, an educational side, a health side, and in it, it's to find where your communities are, so that, you know, you can help each other and become a community. Would you put some stuff on that website?
Oh yes, I'd be offended if I wasn't asked. Yeah, 100%. That's what we do. That's how it works. Yes, it is a network. Yeah, 100%. We would, even on the splspro.com, affiliate with me, and the tech designer are talking about an advert page for common unity services. So we find that we've got quite a lot of very talented members and family members, extended family, and if we can categorize what they've got to offer, we can then stop using the guys that are telling us fibs and lies and, you know, ripping us off, and use our own common unity and build upon, like an Ubuntu process. If you know Michael Tellinger and Ubuntu, we'd do that. So yeah, fantastic. That's great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it was only sort of made a few weeks ago, and of course it's taken like, it takes 3-4 days to embed the actual name, and, you know, and it needs proper content on it. But it started out of nothing, and he'd like it for everybody. Yay! I will send him this, don't you worry.
Sorry, you actually hit the nail on the head there with that Ubuntu, you know, because as far as I remember, it means, like, you know, kind of a sharing and helping each other, doesn't it? You know, that no one goes without. Everyone is like getting something. So that's brilliant, yeah. And I truly hope that, you know, it's so successful as it can be, like, you know, because yeah, everyone's crying for help nowadays, it seems. Oh, we're all getting screwed over, and we'd like to know, how do we go about doing this? What's a better way of going about doing this? Or, you know, yeah, a better way for us in that sense, because we've been run over, aren't we?
Well caught, brother. We're being run over. And Ubuntu, incidentally, means, it's an ancient saying that Michael Tellinger's adopted. That's who I've seen talking about Ubuntu and promoting the free network software that he does as well. But Ubuntu is, if it's not good for the whole of the community, then we don't go ahead. It's that kind of mentality. So as we promote the Jack Fresco resource-based economy, RIP, mentioned John Harris, RIP, but Jack Fresco, another one of my heroes, he's recently passed away at 100. Venus Project resource, based economy generator. What he's done, he's taken the mentality of tribesmen, and he's taken modern day technology, and he's mixed the goodness of the tribes community with the technology what we've got, and he's created the answer to all of the issues. Well, no, in my opinion, that most of the answers are damn good, equivalent to what we've got now, without any money, with no starving children, with what's good for the community. I.e., if we all need an iPhone 11 and I don't use an iPhone, but just an example because it's a must-have gadget of 21st century. And it comes to it that it's for us to make 1 million iPhone 11s, we need X amount of this mineral. And for us to get X amount of this mineral, we're going to have to send a boat 20,000 miles away at an X amount of pounds. So what we'll do is say, we're not making that because it's not good for the community. If you want that, you're going to have to go and get it yourself and sort it nearer to where it is. You want that, they sell it over here. You go to it, not we just start bringing, you know, another one is the starving children of all the continents that we know about. There's no need for that at all. When you know you're a debtor and creditor and there is money is a lie and it's to do with fractional reserve banking and hoarding of gold, we can get a bomb anywhere within minutes. Any GPS point on the alleged shape of the planet, I'm not sure what it is, globe or flat, we'll pause that, but wherever the point is, GPS on the planet plane is, a rocket can be sent within minutes. Well, let's fill up some units of delivery like that with chocolate and medicine and corn and send them, and instead of exploding with a nuclear weaponized warhead full of depleted uranium, let's put a parachute on it and land it. We can get that now everywhere. There's no excuse. We've got the technology. We're using it wrong. And that's where we'll come in. We've got the trust and the equity. It's been there since birth. We just didn't see it. It was merged in a little thing called the CPR 7 and 8. I'll give you a little tip. CPR, Civil Procedure Rules, Section 7 and 8, equity merger. It was there all along, but it was hidden away. It was inception within inception. That's what we've had to do. And whilst we've done that, we found this technology that's old that will come back to life and save us, maybe provide some kind of better remedy than the UCC that we're seeing, claim of life, past syntax grammar and stuff we don't really support. Then we've got the canons and ecclesiasticals and the church side of it, which Steve McRae promotes and Santos is well familiar with. And then we've got what we're coming along with, new trust technology, the high privy courts of chancery, and doing it as the private man under your divine creative given rights, inalienable rights under the creator. So there's like a 3-tier pathway for you to choose at the minute, and we need to define the correct one and analyze it more extensively through this new private domain, because we can't do this work on Facebook. Not a prayer. No. It's in the wrong.
Well, they don't want the truth, do they? They don't want the truth to be known either.
As you know full well, I'm sick of having my account blocked. You can't block me on my own domain. No, you can't. I'm the governor. I'll have my own domain and I won't be blocked, and we'll carry on. That's thanks to the work of the admins, the donations, the meetings, collecting and selling t-shirts, and everything that we've done to promote the YouTube accounts that we've had, and what we've got. The trust itself is these guys have made it happen. All I've done is had an idea and tried to facilitate it, and then bring the right kind of consciousness, vibration and understanding, and turn that into cognizing and overstanding and empowerment. And then once you're empowered, it's as I said, when you get power of attorney and this system knows there's somebody else there that's going to defend and argue, they soon start going, oh, actually, we've had a look at that and we've reconsidered, everything's all right now. You're like, wow, okay, didn't take long, did it? And you're like, why have they done that? But they do.
So yeah, you're right about these other places. I mean, even being on YouTube, it's quite worrying about what you can and cannot say.
Yeah, you got to remember, if you're speaking the truth, it's okay, because it's not construed, it's not unconscionable, it's not criminal, it's not inciting. It's we've got a freedom of speech, and you can exercise that right. If you want to start telling lies and scaring people and selling stuff and making money and monetarizing it and looking at wealth instead of the information and the truth, then that's where you find the trouble is at, generally.
Yeah, that's where a lot of channels are being shut down, because they are speaking the truth. The people that aren't speaking the truth, it's the fucking newspaper and the TVs, man. That's full of shit.
Yeah.
People that are real truth speakers, they're getting shut down. I mean, look at Jerome Corsi. No content on YouTube anymore. Shut down. Gone. Where's he gone?
So
BitChute.
Yeah, I get that. That is correct.
But they're removing freedom of speech. They're taking it away, man. So that soon, and also on the internet, they want it so the internet, we can't just say what we want. It's going to be censored. And if it does get censored, yeah, well, you might as well kiss your ass goodbye, because we ain't going anywhere then, are we? We ain't going to go forward, because anything they don't want us to see, like this, for example, we'll just remove you. No one needs to know. Move along. We're back in 1984, aren't we? George Orwell.
Donkey Kong.
Oh man, yeah. But for people like you, we love it. We love it. We love it. You know, and we're all intent on, getting a better life. You know, Ubuntu. Yeah, like that.
We can adopt that. We can adopt this easily. It's right. So this is where we see it. Excellent point. So you want to exercise your rights, don't you? And you want to exercise what you've got, but you haven't got any rights because you haven't got to the age of majority, and you haven't separated your status and capacity with regards to letting the heads of state. When we say heads of state, we're talking generals like war generals, secretaries, ministers, lords, MPs. When we say notice to principal is notice to agent, notice to agent is notice to principal, what we are saying there is that in trust and equity, that's how it manages it. If you notice one of them, they're obliged to notice the other. So without you making any of these moves at the age of majority, being able to start managing your affairs in a private capacity and not with the full public liability as the Mr. with the title, when you start claiming that title and answering Mr. Giaramita's posts and writing down and signing for Mr. Giaramita and paying taxes through a slave servitude job like I've got every week or month in the form of a PAYE and the national insurance, you're indirectly reporting back to the Treasury regular on how well their organisation is doing, and you're consenting to that through deception and ignorance. So when you go there, Theresa May's on the television addressing the people. We're not people, we're men. We are men and women. We're men of the womb. We are not people. In the legal realm, what she speaks in, the people are dead fictions. And she's talking to the people of the United Kingdom. Well, I'm sorry again. I am David, the private, Holy Trinity, the living man, the body and the soul, the sovereign being, David, of the clan or family Giaramita, and I reside on the landmass known as England, or formerly known as England. I'm not of the United Kingdom. That is a trust. We've proven that. Roger Taylor on Facebook, I've got to mention him because he was a great insight to me in the early days, and he doesn't speak too much to me now. We got separated, but he pointed out Dun & Bradstreet and the company's house, and look at the companies and who they're registered to and what capacity they are in. They are all agents in the trust and equity realm and in the commercial realm. So it's getting blown wide open. We're not just talking about it in conspiracy theories. We're telling you where to go and look at it, to blow it, to find out for yourself. Don't ever believe what I say or what I get into, but you have no rights, and you have submitted them through your ignorance. And if you look at your birth certificate, your person's birth certificate, you will see the informant to the state of the asset and the creation of the organisation which we're talking about through the NI, in your consent, through an acquiescence, is this agreement. And this is a constructed trust, we would call it. So by you being in a constructed trust, as I said with the car and the baby, you go from being one at the righteous one at the top as king. I am king, you are king. We're not just sovereign. When you go to court and you represent yourself, you go as king because it's the king's court. And equity is the king's language of law. It's the fundamental basic. And if you're not in your correct status and capacity on the internet with your YouTube account, like Indigo Child is not, I will suffer the same, because Indigo Child, Indiglo, has no rights. I have benefits, services, George Carlin, RIP, and privileges. And that's what you're seeing taken away from you every day on that global media that they call the news. The fear channel. Here's what you're losing today. Here's who's dying. Here's what's killing you. We still haven't fixed cancer. Your taxes are going up. You need 3 jobs. We're taxing your bedroom. Oh, and you're free. We're free. Sorry. I'll mute the mic.
You're good. I like hearing all that, man.
Thank you for explaining that. Yeah. It's about right, just as everything you just said.
Yeah,
none of us actually want to go to work anymore for that reason.
No, not at all.
It's something different, isn't it?
You've got your capacity. So with your YouTube channel being shut down, remember that was the initial comment I answered to, is because you are not in the capacity and status. You're hearing, I'm repeating words so your viewers and you guys will make the notes and look at, capacity, status, public, commercial, private, trust, equity, the 2-tier, 3-tier law system, high court, privy court, the courts that there are, and the word de facto, that's an important word. De facto comes in and explains a lot of stuff in the terms that we're in now. Thank you. Yeah, it's all right. We love it. It's what we do. We love this. This is what I was born to do, I think. I was previously a DJ in Zante 2013, and I was in clubs warming up Professor Green and Wretch 32. I didn't plan on doing this. This is a total surprise to me as much as it you guys is. When I started to fight to get access to my children in 2007, that's when it started to go on board. And then in 2013-ish, I really started to get, concentrated on it. 2015, we made the Facebook domain and started getting on it as a master brain. And here we are now trying to make everyone else cognize, not recognize. When you recognize, you are viewing something you previously have been privy to. When you cognize, you are looking at something brand new, and you are assimilating and processing data afresh. And you're like, oh. And if you are open, you will assimilate that and grow, and you will expand. And if you're not, you will be closed, and you will never know.
Yeah, is there any way you can talk a little bit more about those word bits you're doing, especially in law? Because obviously everybody's quite interested in this anyway as a topic. But, like you were just saying, like, for instance, we've done the one like apartment. So to go to an apartment, they're taking you apart from everybody.
Yeah.
Don't realise, could you do a few more on law for people to understand maybe?
A few ones on law. Wow, yeah.
You're supposed to say, yes, I am that person. Okay, done the capital letters. You have to just be a representative for that one.
Representative, yeah, that's it. I've just said that one, haven't I? Representative. So when you present at court, you present, and the capacity and status is very important. So how you claim and what name you claim in the words and the language. So I'm an idiot, by the way, to all you guys there right now, and to your viewers or to the future ones that watch any kind of recording. I am classed as an idiot. I know nothing, and that's because I'm not trained in the Law Society, Temple, BAR, any of their licensed languages or arenas or institutions or societies. I'm from the Brotherhood of Man, so I'm separate to all of that, and we don't endorse or teach or practice any of it. What we do is use the Anglo-Saxon ruling and the Anglo common law, natural law, universal law, and applied law, and that's how we operate. So when you want to go on a journey of phonetics and etymology, those are the two words to write down: phonetics and etymology. And look at Santos Bonacci, Know Thyself. Highly recommend that brother's work, because he will pop your consciousness on such a level that makes you like nearly cry. So when you cognize that, I can't be specific right now on the spot. Like when the court is in process, they may use any dialogue and any words. You need to be on. That's why we say you need to stand on your knowledge, and you need to know. You can't just listen to a few videos, write down some stuff about UCC, go to a court, and then try and use your unified commercial codes in your defense in a public commercial capacity. And if you don't understand these numbers and codes, and you say, but I use UCC code 1-308 and protect my rights and reserve, and the judge will say, what do you mean? And you'll be like, and you'll think back to the video, you'll think back to what you saw, and you'll be like, it means to reserve and to protect. So that's what I'd like to do, my honour, your honour, sir, my lordship. And he'd go, no, not granted. You do not have the knowledge, and you do not have the the consciousness of it. We're conscious of what you're trying to enforce. So if you said, I would like to invoke or use UCC 1-308, and the judge says, what do you mean by that? I'm not sure what you're on about. You would say, I reserve my rights and waive all privileges and I'm not going to be forced to be controlled to perform under contracts of which are not disclosed to me at this time. And he will go, aha, you know your judo well. Granted.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it.
See how it works. So I can sit here and explain, but it's not much point. You need to go on that yourself. And you look at Chiron last, and is it the Golden Web? I need to make sure that's right, and that will teach you all about what we have started to teach and be shepherds of. Yeah. The Golden Web. You need to look on YouTube. The Golden Web. We will link them onto splspro.com for you, for the beneficiaries, but that will, and then look at him, his work. If anybody can't find it, I'll help you spell it, but that will elate your consciousness a tremendous amount.
Can I ask you, what about success stories? You must have some good success stories then, you know. Do you?
We have a few, yes. We have some small ones and we have some big ones. We have an assortment. So, chronologically ordered, an old lady came to us in early 2016. When I say old lady, 86. We would consider vulnerable, danger of harm, injury, and loss. There was a borough council making a claim. This claim was going to lead to sanctions on her accounts, their legal person's accounts, for council tax, single person discount. Long story short, we got involved, asked for proof of claim. They said, this is what we think, laid their claim out, which was circumstantial and hearsay. We pointed that out. We said, under the circumstances, we now submit this lady. We called her a frail old lady who was my client, the group's client, the first one in early 16. And we said, we was the authorised representative. We don't agree that the rule of law has been followed. You are a public body. You are governed under statute mandated public code. We've checked that code out. And for your information, we are now informing you and giving you first-hand knowledge that what you've claimed is not true and it is incorrect. We will stand on this in the court of law, and we will submit a sworn, signed statement of truth in an affidavit form, which is a recognised template document for the courts to recognise in your defence of a claim. We sent that off. A week later, they said, no problem, we're very sorry, we're coming out to have a chat. They came out to have a chat. They had a tape recorder. An agent came out from the council. Remember that? That's what we're saying, who they are, how they operate. And they said, we're going to take a statement again. And then once we've got that, we'll go back and all the claims and the charges will be dropped. You will not get a sanction. You will not receive any difference. We're very sorry. And they ran off with their tail between their legs. I advise the counterclaim for damages should now go in. The no due process of law has been followed. Fraudulent claims have been made. It was near Christmas. She nearly had, a breakdown with this. So she just said, "Look, kid, that's brilliant. Thank you and your team. That'll do." And the case was shut down and dismissed. First success. We say small, but it is small, really. But it was big to her.
Well, I would consider it big that you've won. You know, based on that, simply just that. Keep it as it is. That's a win, man. Yeah, it's all good. What about and now I'm thinking about cars, transport, removing number plates, that kind of thing. Have you had anything to do with that? Because that's kind of interesting. I think a lot of people would be interested in that too, if they could drive around without insurance and number plates and everything that they've got to pay for. Fuck's sake, we bought the car once.
Yeah, well, that comes down to consent and contract, and I haven't successfully got a remedy for this, so I will hold my hands up and say anything from this point onward is pure speculation and just from research at present that I'm knowledgeable of. Dave Murphy, you know about him. Hannah Rose on YouTube, I've had a look at her because we're in the YouTube family, so it's only right to mention that. Look at Levi Natty, Levinatty. He's brilliant. He's a Jamaican Rasta guy from in London, I think, and he's talking to the police and he's telling them, he's putting them in their place, in their fiduciary capacity as trustees, and he's letting them know man's driving, literally, man's driving. I couldn't, so eloquently put, Levi Natty. You'll see the clip, it's not long, but the battery dies. The battery dies. I so need the end of that film. Wow. What a legend, brother, respect. If he ever sees anything, wow. So yeah, you need to consider your capacity, your status, who your driver is. When you fill out the V5 registration logbook, you are handing over title and you're changing titles and deeds and property over to an agency. Notice we have a lot of interaction with agents, and agents operate in a certain law. So I'm trying to repeat so the pennies might drop for people about the system we're in, and they all see in, you know, wow, system that controls. You go to the DVLA with the V5 and your equitable person's equitable asset signature endorsing that transferal of goods under some kind of maybe trust law, we might say, and that goes that way. You've lost title of it, so don't do that. But that is my opinion and speculation. Maybe export it out of the United Kingdom, which is a trust set up by the Queen and the government, well, the monarchy on the United Kingdom, the Queen Elizabeth's title to the deed of the United Kingdom corporation. So you're giving property to that corporation, because as debtor creditors and the lack of gold and the gold insolvency, the United Kingdom needs assets. It's got no gold. It's got no silver, so it tricks us into giving it assets to draw upon when it borrows money. But that's another story. You might want to export it from the United Kingdom to England, Anglo, somewhere not registered. You might want to correct the misconstrued relationship that you're in with unconscionable conduct and point out that you are the settlor and you have the bill of sale, and under the bills of exchange and other type of statutory legislation that these guys work upon, we can take that framework and work with it on a legal recognized concept and say at a public at law level, this is what we're saying with a bill of sale. I'm the title owner. I can argue this in a court of law, you know, we can stipulate this. You can look at deregistration, the deregistration of a vehicle. You do not drive around with the license plate Freeman. Do not do that. You may as well get a red baboon's bum and put it to the front and back of your car. That's what you're doing when you put Freeman. You don't put that. You might want to be clever and put FR33 and something, or private PR and make private, I don't know, an insignia. But we are looking at this, and long story short, it's a trust and your property, you're the title owner, you're giving it to the agency. Notice the word agent keeps popping up. So these agents you're giving consent to. If we stop consenting to agents in the correct capacity and status and rescind and remove, I think we can sort it. The last bit is the trust and equity side. Can you put an item, a vehicle or property, not a vehicle, we'll call it property then because it's yours. Can you put that in a trust and protect it? You can put anything in a trust, a private, you know, express private trust. You might want to put it in as a res, as an item res, and list it with like the VIN number. And then you might want to become the beneficiary of such item, but you have to be clever. You know, like, here's an example. I remember back in the day from being a kid, some people used to buy a car and they'd put it in someone else's name, like the dad's, because they get cheaper insurance. And the dad would be on the ownership, he would be on that boat across the sea and the ownership, and he would have the insurance and the registration and everything. But the son would be a named driver. So the son is benefiting from the dad's ownership and title of the vehicle, and the son is now driving it. So if the son crashes it, or it needs repairing, or it needs a service, or it needs anything, he'll go, Dad, car's, you know, and Dad will fix it. So the son's immediately a beneficiary. The son's cleverly found a way in the system to become, and that's not illegal. That's not illegal at all. It's not his property. He has the use of the property. So when you look at David Rockefeller and the statements, what he said and how he views property and how you don't own anything, but you have the exclusive right to it, therefore you're not legally responsible. Therefore, that's a clever move in my book. Tony Blair, he was a trust lawyer. Look at him. Look where he works now. You know, it's there. It's all there.
Yeah, I knew about everything. Have probably been using it all the time, haven't they? When they want something sorted out, they're using the very thing that was being used against us.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep, it's true. It's ignorant. It's not our ignorance. We just never got the Eton, Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford. They all have a tailored, concise education. We don't. We have a doctrine. Remember, you know who gives us that, and you know the names and the families and the institution and the global Zionist cabals that keep us at a dumb educatory level. So if you go to my website, I won't mention any more names and name drop it, but if you go to it, the private one, you'll see the membership to become a beneficiary of the private express trust that I'm going to what's the word? What you do? Declare, and no, you don't declare it, but proclaim soon will be a separate, brand new private trust, and it will have all these things in it: the website and the bank account. £12 is the contribution for the running and maintenance and the remuneration of my time, because I've quit a job at 26.5 grand as a slave master in the warehouse, and I've got no income. I've nothing, and I'm not going to consent anymore to this system. So I'm going to try and step out of the matrix. I'm going to be privately employed through the private trust, and I'll get remuneration through the trustees and the beneficiaries. And to get this to work, we've said £12 a year for all of that resource-based library, forums, chat, premium webinars, access to support and help, the 3,000 in the Facebook, the YouTube account, all amalgamated together. A few more pages to come on, a bit more design. So that's £1 a month, which is 25 pence a week. If you can't afford that, I've even got coupons now, so we can take 50% off, or I'll even give you a free account. If you're that hard up and you can't fiscally, financially get anything together, you can still become a beneficiary for free, and the trust will absorb that within itself. And on the same premise, if anyone comes to the family and wants to join and get on board, and they've got you know, a lot more not on board, join and interface, and they've got a lot of money, credits, you know, what we call, you know, promissory notes really, but they've got a lot of these credits and they can give more, then the trustees will use that as appointed in the directions of the declaration that I'm putting together, so they cannot deviate from that. I hope by now you're getting an idea of what a trustee's capability and responsibility is. He acts and they act on the instructions and specific fiduciary duties in the public realm. So they are private, they are to between the trust only, but you can rest assured it will be cast iron and bulletproof and protected. So if anybody lays claim on my legal person and says you owe council tax, you owe PCNs, your legal fiction, you know, they're all caps and so forth, the mister, they want to take the trust, and there might be 100 grand in that bank account, they can't have it, because I've copied Tony Blair, and with the help of Richard Ansar and the new trust technology and Winston Shrout and the White Rabbit and certain other mentors and gurus that I've got, we've copied them, and you can do that without any license or anything. That's your private sovereign right to do that. You've got an ability, and we're going to return them abilities back to you for the prince's sum of 25 pence a week. Oh wow.
Wow. Sounds like you've been working very hard here. I really hope this takes off for you.
It will do. It's got
For us.
it's got a lot of movement already, and it's not even going yet, so it will do. I've been to Bosnia. Our lass is from Hungary. This is another synchronicity we're having right now, because the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun I visited last year. I drove from Hungary, and I won't disclose the family's data where they are in Hungary, but 470 kilometers to south, and I had to cross Hungary to Serbia, through Croatia into Bosnia, all the way through to Bosnia to Viseko Hill, and go to the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. And they have the Sun and Moon Pyramid there. And I'm planning trips to go back to the Sun and Moon Pyramid, adventures, not holidays, private excursions through the trust. They've captured my imagination, and this, your name and the group, I was like, oh dear, this is going to be a fruitful, strong relationship, I think. I hope. Yes, synchronicities.
Yeah, definitely, David. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Incredible.
They're just coming thick and fast. I think they're just building up and getting more and more, and everything just seems to be pulling together and falling together for everything. That's all aspects, whether it is like what shape the earth is, or what the government are doing to the food or the drink, or what anything that that you hear about in these pathways that we find ourselves in.
Agreed, yeah, agreed, brother.
I was gonna say something earlier when you were talking about trust. So I've been on that website, that monetize certificate of live birth. You heard about that judge Nadu that's supposed to setting up a bank. Well, it's like basically from what I can tell, he's setting up a bank, and he's doing it under trust law, and it's supposed to be giving big payouts and payouts for life, using the system itself.
In what continent? What country is this, please?
I don't know where he lives. I think he lives in like Hong Kong or something like that. But he says
Interesting. Hong Kong was ruled by Chris Patton. We created Hong Kong. We had, what did we give back to Hong Kong in the 90s? We gave something back to Hong Kong. I think it might have been independence, and Chris Patton left there, so that might be interesting. That straight away clicked an alarm bell. But carry on.
Yeah. He says it should work globally because technically it comes under all the ecclesiastical law and tribal law, and it's about basically setting up your own police force, like communities setting up forces to actually go and deal with things that are actually happening, and not fabrication of stuff, and like going to actually see injury, loss, and harm, and controlling these things in the right way. Basically, just saying that we can govern ourselves, and yeah, somehow through that, it says it can open this bank and start paying people out. Because it's all promissory note, so you'll just accept any promissory note or whatever. And I think it costs like £5 million. If you've got £5 million, you can open your own bank.
Oh, right. So there we go. Equality for all. So what sovereign paralegals will do is, no offence to anybody else, and this is just us, we will look at equality for all and the maxims and principles. And if there is a remedy, then it will be a remedy that costs relatively little, that can be attained for the price of what it costs to learn. That's what price it will cost you ultimately to cognise and get to know. If you go and look for a leader, that's why I'm not a leader, and you go and look for these kind of David Wynne Miller, again, the jury's out on that. It's not looking good for the lad. Past syntax grammar, and other people that are offering courses to provide remedy or trusts and credits and accounts, and we'll call them discharging debts. I don't agree with that, because I will tell you now, as I see it, and my admins and the group, the movement we're in, we're all walking central banks. I've said you're the debtor and the creditor, and you are that by birth, and the bonded paperwork that you've got evidence of. So if you are the debtor, you're also the creditor. And you look at the Gold Insolvency Acts and what happened in the 30s, and I'm not going to go through it all now. That's part of the learning curve for you. But you can source and refine what happened with money, what money is, what's backed, the definition of money, the definition of cash, the definition of credits, finance. You need to get really deep into it, and you'll find out that if you are clever enough and you are knowledgeable enough, you can offset the charges laid upon your legal person with a technique, and that technique you can learn, and you can do it, and you can command it, and you can own it. And that might be called A for V on a public side, and on a private side it might be called promissory note. So again, we go back to status and capacity. What status does the promissory note and the A for V take? Well, I've said the promissory note was a private methodology and technique and instrumentation, so that would be used in the equity and trust side. The public side would be the A for V, so that would be used with regards to your bills and discharging and offsetting using thumbprints, your indemnification number issued by the International Monetary Fund. You pay into that account for a reason. It's for you to claim back your claim of right, and you don't know you've got a right to claim. That's the trick. So when you find out and you claim it, then you're off, and you can offset as a walking central bank, and you are the creditor. And if they doubt that, we'll prove it to them under the threat of the 1911 Perjury Act. Sorry, getting emotional.
No, you're fine. I've got a question. What's A for V? What's that exactly?
Accepted for value.
All right. Okay. Cheers.
So an idea of that would be what I got from Mark Ceylon and Sri Lanka C from YouTube, and a few other talkers and speakers, and a guy called Wesley Ahmed, I think, as well. I looked at him in the early days, years ago. Alleged bills come through with the bank gyro credit slip or whatever credit slip on the bottom with an amount and a bank account number, and to say that you need to pay that. But when we extrapolate what that is, under what terminology, under what law, under what authority, under what relationship, under what language, under what template. There's a lot to that statement, believe it or not. And when you extrapolate the bottom, it looks like they're saying they're going to use this credit slip to pay that statement, and they're just letting you know that they're going to be dipping into that all caps account, the capital one, the Mister, and they might be doing a transfer soon. But what we've started to do is to go, all right, we need to pay that because we don't know, and we publicly give it our sweat equity, our credit notes, and go to the post office or set a direct debit standing order up and ease that, pay it, satisfy it, discharge it with our sweat equity. When what some people are doing, brothers and sisters, are getting that bank account number removed and fixing over it your indemnification number, national NI for UK, SS for USA, and you then start putting thumbprints and stamps and becoming postmaster and certain things as, and I haven't got there yet. I've not successfully done this, but I'm on the cusp of learning it. I've got a bit more to go on the trust and equity. I'm only halfway through it. I'm not the most knowledgeable on it by any means.
Quite a lot of knowledge. I'm really enjoying this. I think the chat room also is very enjoying this.
Ah, thank you. I'll try not to waffle. It's hard.
Yeah, but it's hard, isn't it?
But that's the whole point of you coming on here, so that you can get it off your chest and let us know, as much information as possible. I'm hoping everyone else is writing notes down. I'm taking quite a few notes here, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's also disgusting what they've got us in, isn't it? When you work out this is all unnecessary, and we're just like an experiment in an open air prison.
Yeah.
But can I just stress something out? You asked about wins, and we've digressed somewhat. So luckily for you, I've got a fragmented mind, but I can quickly go back and then get the thread again. So when we had the last good win was 2 weeks ago. If you go to the domain, you'll see the publication of the story. But can you see in the corner what we have? I'll bring some closer to the camera, but I'll just go off mic while I get them. Goodness. There we go. Books. Yeah. That's it. We've got like the civil court procedures, volumes and volumes of them. So these are, an indication. Then you've got the criminal side. That was the public. Then you've got the criminal side. So these are the criminal guidelines. These are 2 years old, so they've got, this big by now. Yeah. You need to know, if you're going to go to the court, you need to be prepared, and you need to know what you're doing, because that's what kind of material. You don't just read or watch a video. You need to meet them at their level, at the correct level of law. And if you do so, we had a traffic officer that made a claim that a driver had gone through a red light contravention in a truck. So long story short, because I do need to get off soon, we went to the magistrate's trial in Oxford to represent his legal fiction. I'm not going to go into how we did that because it's too complex, but we got there. We didn't contract, we didn't claim a name, we managed the name, his legal instrumentation, his driver. We presented the driver, we presented the driver's sworn statement from the authorised agent and representative in office. We let the magistrates know. The officer who made the claim and issued the ticket for going through a red light, which constitutes common law breach and criminal, activity under the 1998 Road Traffic Management Act. The officer was cross-examined by the prosecution. Then the officer got down. The officer was given the chance to be prosecuted by my beneficiary, the driver, the authorised representative of the driver. The driver did. My representative of the driver did cross-examine the officer and ask some poignant questions and ask him for, proof of claim, authority, evidence, the general things that the civil procedure or the criminal rules, layer of law require. And we did that in front of the magistrates. He went and got out of the dock. Then the representative for the driver, our beneficiary, got into the dock to give evidence and be cross-examined by the prosecution. The officer was sat in the public gallery. The cross-examination was done. The representative for the driver got out, sat back in the dock with myself. I was a Mackenzie friend. They didn't like the books that I borrowed. These aren't mine. There's some money's worth there. They're like hundreds of, nearly £1,000 or so, £2,000 worth of books you've just looked at there that are 2 years old. So the common man can't get hold of these. We need to have these in a trust and have them available for mass referencing of our beneficiaries. You see how the trust has various benefits already, like becoming apparent. So we used these books we've borrowed, and we cited and stuck to the rules. They went off to deliberate at 5 to 5. The court shuts at 5, close of business. They came out at 25 past 5. They had to take expert legal advice to become a magistrate in the United Kingdom, because that's what they reside in. The corporation, the Crown Enterprise of London, operates in the United Kingdom Trust, and to operate as a magistrate under license in the United Kingdom, you can be trained in a couple of weeks, a month, and you need no previous law experience, 0 law experience. So what we did, we presented that well and argued that concisely as two brothers from the street, no license, no affiliation. They had to take expert legal advice. They came back and said the prosecution has not successfully, without a shadow of a doubt, with all intents and purposes, proved that this actually happened. It is hearsay, circumstantial. They have reasonable doubt that this may not have happened as it has been stated. Lack of evidence, lack of following of, there's no backup procedure-wise. So they have to give a not guilty verdict because reasonable doubt has been presented. So luckily, it went well, and that's the biggest recent success, and that's been documented. There is a template going to be brought out for the handling of legal persons and statuses regarding claims towards drivers, and the evidence that the CPR rules stipulate that must be there. If any of that is not satisfied, the case has no standing in law and there's no case to answer.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
David, because you got to go soon,
Yeah.
you want to talk about like flat Earth a bit?
Yes, I do. I love this subject because I'm an inquisitive indigo mind, and I need to know. I like to know. I'm OCD. If I do something and it goes well, I'll do it again. And if I don't do it that way and I cut myself, I'm like, you're an idiot. You should have done it the way stop rushing, calm down, and this. So when I look at flat Earth and I look at the evidence provided that I provide NASA, and I look at who NASA are, because that's who give us the evidence for the globe, they're from the paperclip, are they not? Blue books, a UFO paperclip, the agents coming over from Nazi Germany, collected by the Federation of America at the time, Federation, not a USA Inc., and it was amalgamated into the NASA. Then NASA's first rockets emulated Hitler's rockets that he was building in the Second World War. So that's how we know that it's definitely them. Then we look at the evidence, NASA, CGI, composite images on websites. No film, like an old camera film, like Buzz, or is it Neil, took the picture on the moon of the Earth, which is only half of an Earth because of the shadow, and that's a composite CGI. All of the pictures of Earths on maps that we've seen on the Google images, DuckDuckGo images, are composite NASA images. There is no proof, there is no photo, there is nothing for man to see what dominion and what domain he lives on. When did the Earth become a ball? The Earth became a ball 600, 800 years ago. I won't tell you by whom and by where and what institution. Who's talked about the Earth being round? Copernicus, haven't they? Lots of philosophers have said about the Earth and how it is, and the stars and the astrology side of it. It's very fascinating. But then you've got the Egyptians and the mathematics and the code within the pyramid and the size of the pyramid and the equatorial line and the circumference of the Earth and the speed of light. What? Just for good measure. As if you're not confused enough, we'll have the speed of light. And then you look at it, history and Babylonians, Sumerians, Egyptology, all of the religions, and they say flat. They say flat. And you're like, hang on then. So we've got conflicting information. And who's telling us the conflicting information? These lot. And what do these lot do? They don't really tell the truth, do they? Let's be honest. So for ease of everybody, whatever these say, I think the opposite. These say it's a ball, I'll go with flat. Done. Next.
That was good, that. Yeah, we don't believe them bollocks, do we?
That's it. That's all I can say. There's no evidence. I haven't got any. I can't go up. I've looked on YouTube, I've read articles, I've looked at Tesla, I've looked at Eric Dollard, I've looked at the quantum mechanics, I've looked at the electromagnetics of the sun, the Van Halen belt. Wow, it's massive. It really is a massive subject.
Van Halen belt, I love that. Van Halen, but never mind, it was better.
Yeah, no, I did that intentionally. Thank you for picking up.
No, it's good. I love that.
Sometimes, you know.
I like a sharp mind, man. I do. I've lost what I was just going to say, man. Distracted. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right, just take a minute. You have the thought. Watch this. You have the thought.
They turned us into a ball. The 1960s.
And who
the
were
1960s.
Go on then.
I've remembered what I was going to say now.
I'll go on then, Astral.
This did it for me anyway. I mean, I was long before this happened, but you know that a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. If everyone saw that, they'd be like, you know, scratching their heads. I was at a meeting, not yesterday, the day before, with like another 5 or 6 people. And we were having problems with the computer and the display. And I said to the guy, like, and people, I'm making note that he's having problems with his computer and what have you. And I said, and people still believe that we went to the moon in 1969. Made sure everyone heard, like, you know, looked at me and that. So hopefully they'll go, what's all that about the moon in 1969? You know, and see that we didn't go to the moon. And they've lost all the data to it. I mean, fucking hell, man. The biggest thing mankind has ever done, apparently, gone to the moon. Where's all the data for it? Oh, we can't go back because we've lost all the data and all the films got destroyed. And come on. They will be locked up in the Smithsonian or something, wouldn't they? You're never going to lose that. The film, the cameras, the buggies, you know, whatever they've left up there that they say they left up there. Bollocks, man. It's full of shit.
The way I kind of saw it was that they needed the First and Second World War to sort of destroy the infrastructure because we were already going very electric, free energy. And then come out of the Second World War after rations and that, rations. They've sort of got petrol, oil, all those things. Then comes daylight savings. Then comes going to the moon. Then comes, you know, the globe. All done in the 60s. So it's not even that long ago.
I got like the cosmology gets me, like the physics. You know, when they say the Earth is spinning at 10,000 miles an hour on its axis at a 33 1/3 Masonic incline or whatever, you know, I believe it's that, and they say 10,000 miles an hour. Then they say the Earth is then going around the sun, and we go around, you know, the day, the hours, the 12-hour day, you know, and the 24 hours rotation of the sun. Then we have the sun on its path around the Milky Way in its own particular orbit around the cosmos. And we know about the heavens and the zodiac and how they appear to change or not change. We may be staying still and that may be just revolving around us, because when you get the time-lapse camera and you stick it on the North Star and you go, let's take time-lapse camera every 30 seconds and overlay the shots, and to get that pathway, you get how many directional movements? Uno. You don't get this one followed by the going around the sun 24 hours, followed by the sun going around the Milky Way, which would be a zigzaggy type picture of the stars, because we're not in a synchronized smooth movement. And then the water on the Earth, I don't know how that would stay on, because wow, if it's a vacuum outside, you know, what's going, come on, water. And then you look at the water on the ball. If we was on the ball, then how would it flow and how would it be managed, and how is it just suspended? But it's, you know, why is it not flicking out? And it's just, is gravity really gravity? Because Einstein, after finding out about Tesla and the frequency and the 0 point energy and the Tesla coils and the Tesla tower and Warncliffe and Edison and Marconi and what they did there, you know, and how they throttled him and basically snuffed him, because he could have done this and sorted this out for free in the, as you've said, the 60s. Well, he died in the early 1900s, to be fair, in New York alone. Poor, but they stole his inventions, and by the 50s they perfected most of all of them. And you know, this is where this technology that he had, and he had knowledge of the cosmos, and what we are finding out about now through Ubuntu was the toroidal energy field that's happening, and that's called the ether, We live on a place called Earth, which is contained within ether. We have Weether, which is weather, and we are connected to this cosmos of which we know nothing about, that Tesla did. And I think we should explore more in them fields as well to get the answers about whether or not the Earth is round or flat. Because if there is a toroidal, this is where now the science and logic comes in with David. If there is a toroidal energy field, then that means that it's got to be a globe, because you only get a toroidal energy field with the apple core effect of a full ball. So I need to look at the science for evidence, and then the evidence of the archaeological evidence, and then the astrological evidence. There's a lot of evidence to look at, when really NASA could have just took a picture. Somebody take a picture.
But they can't, because we can't go up there. We can't go up there. So you've never been to space, so they can't take a picture.
Hubble telescope, Mars rover missions and stuff going out there. They right on the back end, like you put Freeman and your red baboon's bum on your car. Just stick a camera on it, and as you're flying away from Earth, we'll get a nice panoramic, fading away shot of Earth as we go. Sorry, and I'm not even a technologist. Camera on the back of something as it goes away, broadcasting, like the ones that broadcast from Pluto back to us, and that go out eons into the cosmos that broadcast a signal. There's one from the 70s still broadcasting, I believe. So it's just got to the edge of our solar system now. I won't tell you the name of it, but that's still transmitting. That could have had a camera on it. The Russians could have helped out with it. The Chinese could have helped out with it. They haven't, for a reason.
I'd like to know what kind of batteries they're using, because holy shit, man. I mean, one of those batteries, that'll probably power the whole universe, Jesus.
Well, I look at Michael Hutchins for that, and solar power, Nikola Tesla, these great minds like Jack Fresco, that Eric Dollard to some extent with the plasma energy fields, and Michael Tellinger with the actual application in practicality. There's a lot there you can look at that's free energy. Yeah, they know about it. They're using it. That's exactly what they're not using, the batteries. They're using nature and the cosmos and the natural laws, and they're selling us metric, poisonous, toxinous gases that just basically kill the planet and make us pay for our own demise. Thanks. Nice one.
Yeah. Also, when you were explaining the bit about how the sun goes round us and all the whatever it was miles one way, don't forget we're going anti-clockwise with the moon, and then we're going two different the other way with the sun and the galaxies. It's ridiculous. We'd be torn apart.
Yeah, you would. Indeed, you would. It's too perplexing. It doesn't make sense. They've messed up big time, like they did. You definitely
wouldn't want to go in an aeroplane, would you? You wouldn't want to go in one of them.
Well, as other people have said, if the Earth was 10,000 miles an hour, an airplane in reality would hopscotch, and it would just have to go, boop, boop, and the Earth spinning would do the travelling for the plane. And if you're flying against that, and you're going with the turn, I don't know how you'd land that plane, because the ground's running away from you at 10,000 miles an hour. And if you go the other way, the ground's coming to you at 10,000. It's just like, hang on. The atmosphere, it moves in relationship and proximity with the such and such. I'm like, no, it doesn't. You need hardcore defined science. I need proof, statutes, figures. And there's like rockets being sent up that are hitting some kind of object, a dome. And you look at the cosmology of the ancients, and you look at the Incas and the Sumerians and the Babylonians and the scriptures and the Vedic scriptures and the stuff that's bang on, that we know is bang on. It's uncorrupted and it's original source material. That says flat. And you're like, hang on then. So these guys know everything and they've never been wrong. And they're saying it's this. So what advantage has it to being round? And again, Chiron Last does do a video on this. If you look, it's called The Divine Comedy. With regards to your question about the words and how to split them up and the legal construct, please, again, I'm not even affiliated with this brother. I just can't believe the knowledge he's got, and it needs to be shared. So Chiron Last on The Divine Comedy will answer quite a lot of this for you. It doesn't tell you whether it's round or flat, but it tells you the organisation and the methodology behind it and why. Yeah,
thanks for that.
Yeah, but what?
Anyway, when you need a slip where we can go up there, we never even needed a rocket.
Out of body experiences. Yeah, OBEs.
Anyway, I myself have sort of like gone through some of the footage and seen like a paused astronaut and things like that. One's moving around, one's paused. You know, it's just all a joke and a lie. It's just ridiculous. It's disgusting what they've put us in.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen a lot of NASA footage that's been leaked on, you know, but then again, this could be a psyop. Imagine that the government wanted us to think that we never went. Imagine if they want us to think this is what I'm aware of now, because of these and their dirty little games and their deceit and their sadistic, demonic, Roman civil, horrible, you know, deceptive measures, because that's what it is. And we proved that. So because of that, I'm out. For that reason, I'm out, because they will play little psyops games, and they have agendas, and you know about Agenda 21 and the depopulation and the, you know, the things that go eugenics, research eugenics, and Bill Gates and the Red Cross and FEMA camps. That'll do it for you. So once you get on board with that, you think, so what else would they do? They'd really like to play games with us. So we don't know if what we're seeing is genuine NASA or if it's NASA pretending that we didn't go. You got the guy saying on his deathbed that when they went to the moon, they looked over the crater, the little creepy alien things. And I'm like, but you never went. So why would you tell us there's aliens on the moon now? You're telling us we never went because you did see aliens. But that means you got through the belt and you should be dead because you only had tin foil to protect you on the moon from all that solar radiation. So it's conflict again. It's too much. And we are no longer relying on these. And what we're doing, as I said with that master brain, is we're extrapolating it and working it out for ourselves. And that's the ultimate spiritual guide that I think if you are spiritual, you will find that only you can find the kingdom of heaven from within. And that's coming from a Buddhist, not a Christian. So your government isn't obliged to tell you. You need to go on your leap of faith and your own soul journey and discover that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, someone in the chat rooms just mentioned, Marilyn, that I put up this video that someone found, and it was actually some old footage when they were up on the ISS, supposedly, and he's chasing off a moth. He's chasing a moth away from him. And then also we've had pilots on. We've had pilots on, and because of the Coriolis effect, they said that if the Earth was moving, they'd never be able to land the plane. But the gyroscope proves we're not moving. We're not moving.
They've also done, on a more technical level, they've done extensive laser technology tests where they've fractionalized it with mirrors, and they've used one laser and they've sent it over distance, and they've analyzed the movement and the very technical data I've looked at, and that says we're not moving as well. Yes, it says stationary. Go on, Astral.
And also, a researcher on our panel found lots of information which is released. It's not maybe yesterday's news. I mean, it's stuff that was in there in the 70s, and artists, that is. And NASA, they put in all their documents. We're on a flat plane. We're on a flat plane. They use flat plane all the time. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, David.
Sorry, I'm tired and it's late. My apologies. In Genesis, I believe, or Revelations, I'm not a Bible basher, but I reference and source the Quran. Like I say, a lot of information. We've looked at all religions to get this more insight, and in that we found that it says, I found the earth without form, and he remade it. In the beginning, that was it. You see, whatever book that is, Genesis or Revelations, isn't it? Genesis, in the beginning, there was the word light, the earth was without form, and he remade it. So, and then it's a plane of existence in those old texts, and those texts are Hebrew texts, you know, from Judea, places like that. They seem to know it. Then it seems to have got corrupted. You look at Zachariah Sitchin's and his translation of the
Emerald Tablets.
Emerald Tablets, and the Sumerian clay, and he's been a little bit edited, I believe, and tweaked the truth. And you can find, if you look, similarities within all of this, you know, this source code again.
Hey, well, you spoke about the Emerald Tablets there, Zachariah Sitchin and what have you. Apparently, there's something like 13, but we've only seen 10 of them. Have you heard about that? There's still a few more volumes that we haven't seen yet, or tablets that we haven't seen yet, that haven't been, because the public cannot know about them, apparently. They're too dangerous for our knowledge. This is what they've said, you know. I mean, fucking hell, I'll decide whether they're too dangerous for me to see or not, you know.
Yeah,
Come on, are we children or what?
Yeah, we are children. That's right. You're seeing it. We're not adults. We're not viewed as adults. We're viewed as children, and they will deem what we can have or not have as acceptable until, yeah. So I have heard about extra. I've heard about Sitchin's having Masonic linkages and having to manually adapt his original translation of which he gave to the Grand Masters fully and unencoded, and then he's re-edited it for public release as the Grand Masters have instructed. That's an underground chat I've had with anonymous links and stuff in the years gone by. The green emerald tablets of Thoth, that was Sitchin's and the Sumerian tablets. The ancient tablets, green ones of Thoth, Thoth it is. Look at the Egyptians and when Thoth was depicted, what head he had, what creature, how he was depicted, what kind of instruments he had and what knowledge he had. And you look at that, and these are on these emerald tablets, and the emerald tablets atomic structure is of a fixed comprised structure. It doesn't matter if you freeze them, heat them, put them under pneumatic hydraulic drill like a jackhammer or anything, they will not break, heat or change their atomic structure. There's nothing on this realm, as I call it, this existence that we're in, that has a fixed atomic structure, and that's got the words in it with the gold leaf. I'm like, well, that's magic. And the words are
so strange, isn't it? That blew me away as well, you know, that they can't be destroyed.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, and I'm in for that one. I'll be in for that. It's amazing. I couldn't tell you guys. I love the subject. And because I'm doing such a massive job, as you've seen with the law, the YouTube, the Facebook, the 40-hour servitude, building the website, managing it, helping construct meetings and putting things into effect and overseeing the general movement of which we're responsible for. I don't really have time for flat earth. It's a distraction, to be fair.
Well, we know it's flat. We may not necessarily know the shape for sure for a while, but the next thing is to deal with the people. And as this group, this is what we're called Family, Sun and Moon Family United for. This is why we're going to help Rich do people for people.life. And while you're helping the community as well. And it's good that this is community stuff for a change.
Yeah.
This is good news, isn't it? This is all really good news. Yay!
It is. I am hyped, but I'm quite jet lagged in effect with these shifts and mornings and AMs and whatnot, and sleeping at 4 till 6. But it is good news. I would argue that it is flat. If I was a betting man, I would say all the evidence, tangible evidence, irrefutable, tangible evidence, I would have to go flat. That doesn't reflect on my opinions of law about, you know, whether or not I can hold a status and capacity in a court. That doesn't go on, because we use the tangible, as I showed you with the books. We don't go on hearsay. We don't go on speculation. We don't go on templates. We make our own. We make our own notices. We construct them. We devise them. We cognize them, and they work. So with this one, it's going to have to be flat, yeah.
Also, we were speaking to D Marble the other day, and he took a leveler on it as one of his videos that sort of made him. He took a level on a plane trip. Yeah, and it's a bit like these things don't cost very much money to buy. But the other thing is, look, if we're living in gravity, right, how could you get a tennis ball, fill it up with water, fling it around, and it comes off? If it can keep an ocean fixed to the ball, why can't it keep the water on a tennis ball?
Agreed. Physics. This is physics. Maybe there is no gravity. Exactly.
Gravity was made for the ball. I just think if there was such thing as a gravity, wouldn't your head want to meet the floor? Wouldn't the trees and the leaves want to meet down? You know, everything would be dragged to the ground.
Exactly. Physics again. Applied principles of physics. Yeah.
We don't live like that, do we?
And underwater, you can get buoyancy underwater as well. A submarine would get buoyancy, but if there was gravity, that buoyancy would be constantly overridden and it would fall down. Surely. There's a lot of arguments. You said it with the plane. A plane flying on a ball, even if it was a ball and it was flying, and it really go, do you dip your nose every 100 miles? Because if not, you'll end up going out into the space, won't you? So you need to course correct and follow the globe. And the gyroscope does not have a digital attachment. It simply displays the flat horizon on that ball. It's not even a curve. It's a flat horizon on it.
Yeah, I always use that argument with people. about gyroscope on a plane. Take a flight, and usually they have the cockpit door open, don't they? I mean, and you can go on, sit in the cockpit sometimes, you know, or you could years ago. Just do that. And I think you only have to be there for like 10 minutes. And if it's not dipped down, then it's flat. I don't even think it's 10 minutes, you know, because they're going at 500 miles an hour, let's say. And according to the curve, you know, he doesn't have to be in the air many minutes before he's got to dip down. They don't. You can see flights on YouTube for hours at a time in the cockpit. That altimeter, or the gyroscope, sorry, the level is level. So, I mean, it's all a crock of shit. And the sooner people realize, oh my God, that's right, you know, the better things will be, you know. Fucking hell, let's move forward. I mean, we need to, everyone needs to know. Everyone.
Right, skin of the streets, let's move forward. Get in. Push things forward. Yeah, it's right. It's education, it's knowledge. You see, in a world where we have all this digital technology and connectivity, you know, I'm at work at 5 a.m. That's why I need to get off, because I need to get up at 5 in the morning. But I will sacrifice and not watch the videos and the box sets and the Game of Thrones, and I will put the effort into our brotherhood, family, extended family, and say that this is our choice. We have chosen to do this, to research, to question. Others, they choose to drink beer, follow football, watch Game of Thrones, have sex, sniff cocaine, fight, moan about the government, and continue that in a Groundhog Day scenario. Whereas we have gone, whoa, you can keep your drugs, you can keep your beer, you can keep your credits, you can keep your privileges, and I'm going to take my own view on this. And if you're going to tell me any different, bring me the slave master, because we need a chat. If not, I'll see you in the High Court, the Privy Council of Equity. I'll be referring you to my claim of right, and I want remedy for the 350-year-old Sestu KV 1666, the foreign sitters, the birth certificate, the equitable interest that we're due. It's not in riches and fortunes and millions. It's just in, you know, knowledge and the peace. Access. Homeless man dies outside Parliament. How does that happen? How does a homeless man die outside the very place that's employed to safeguard mankind? Because we are not as we think we are in the world, in reality, in science, in health, in nature. And their argument is, if you're ignorant to it, then that's your ignorant. We are the nanny state. We need Bitty. Remember him? Bitty love. You want some Bitty, anyone? Well, we don't want the Bitty anymore. We're spitting it out, and we're going for proper substance, aren't we?
Yay! And
Sorry.
Thank you.
Bless.
Thank you. You're very positive, and I love it. I love it. Because obviously we don't really know you. We've known you now through the beer guy, and it's been great.
Oh, bless him, the beer guy, legend. Yeah, legend. Bless the Lord.
Richard, lovely. Can I just mention just one thing? I've been watching this guy called Enslaved by No Media, and he's using a P900, and no matter what he does, he's saying that Google is 16 miles. His camera says it's 8 miles. They say the planes are this high up. His camera's saying they're only this high up, and they're not going as fast as they say they are, and it goes on and on. He's called Enslaved by No Media, if you're interested. Another person proving even P900s lie. Well, you know, they're lying, and the P900 picks it up differently, and we're not seeing as far as they say, and he reckons we're probably half the size we are.
Yeah, the sun definitely isn't 90 million miles away. That is apparent, clear and apparent. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's good. Independent research. That's how we're doing it. See, P900 saves the day. Fantastic. Excellent. Incredible.
That's why they have to put the clouds up all the time to stop us taking photographs.
It's going to get even more interesting when the P1000 comes out, because apparently that's in the mill.
Do you know who owns all the you know those telescopes that look like the top of a mosque that are on mountains that open up, and they have that big powerful one? There's like 12 or so many, probably 12, because that's the same as the disciples. But do you know who owns them? Who owns all these powerful satellites? Who has got the tangible asset rights to it?
I would say the Vatican.
Bang on the money. Yes. Why? Why would they? Why do they need? It just confuses me why they need big, powerful telescopes.
Looking out for the second coming of Christ.
Jeebus is not going to, in the famous words of Homer Simpson, Jeebus will not save anybody. He's not going to come down and fix all this tyranny, disease, war, torture, you know, famine, people blowing up their own kind, you know, because we're all human. It doesn't matter what race, religion you are or faction. You blow up a human, you've blown up your brother, you've blown up your sister. You've been brainwashed to do that, and it's like, yeah, we have got a big job to do, guys. So unity and this camaraderie is why I'm here tonight. But I would like to try and wrap it up because I'm conscious of the time, and I've said quite a bit, to be fair, and you've been brilliant. Thank you.
Oh no, so have you. The chat room loved it. They said what a brilliant night. So thank you so much. Maybe you'll come back and visit us soon and give us an
always.
update and stuff.
Yeah, by all means, yeah. Get them to the YouTube, and I share the videos that I like and what I've added to the playlist. So you'll find all the ones that we are in touch with and working with and affiliated with. And if you guys share with me anything you need help with on our private domain or in the Facebook, you know, that's not so great, but it's got a lot of advert capacity, demographic, you know, catchment is up to 3,000. So it's not the biggest of groups, but it's a quality size. It's not full of randoms. We've more or less vetted all them 3,000. So 2,800. So it's a core, stable, safe environment of which is constantly monitored. And then, yeah, I'm looking forward to it by all means. Yeah, I can go. This is all from the top of my head. So in a tired state, when I'm more prepared and I've done a bit of preparation, we can actually sink our teeth into some tangible, yeah, on this.
Cool. Anyway, we don't want to keep you too long. As you say, you've got to get up early, and I know what that's like. I hardly get any sleep.
Hate it. It's such a drain, isn't it? But not everybody's privy to be able to do or make the decisions you want to make, and you have them given to you. So, yeah, if this goes well, and
You
we
need
do
another
this,
6 hours, don't you? You need the day to be another 6 hours long.
yeah, and this is it. Whoever made the days and the hours and that, have a look at that, and the calendars. Is it Gregorian and the calendars and the Aztec calendars and the Malayan calendars, and how many days and the quantum mathematics and that to do with the shape of the Earth. Some fantastic information out there in the form of a YouTube channel. I don't know if it's still around. It's got the videos are called Ancient Knowledge, and the channel was called Kill Illuminati. That's brilliant. Are you still there? It's gone a bit.
No, we're here. We're listening.
All right, it's gone a bit
We're
fuzzy. Yeah.
listening. Yeah, we're listening to you. David, it's been a real pleasure. I'm sure from all the chat room, everybody on this panel, thank you very much, and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I want to say thank you, Dave. It's or David. It's been brilliant. Great hearing you and knowledge on all these things. Like, you know, you definitely got to come back. And the chat room loves that you're talking all this stuff, man. Really. So that's just a plus. Yeah, come back, please.
Thank you. I'll show you some of ours. I haven't got buttons.
You're
Thank
at the place where you're actually doing something about it, so feel very proud of yourself as well.
Manifestation, yeah, manifestation is what it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, David.
Big flat earth hugs and lots of love. Mwah, to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I'll say ciao for now. Go on, you could go on. Carry on, Rich.
Oh.
I was just going to say cheers, David. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Rich.
It's been brilliant. Thanks to the beer guy, to everybody that's on here now, and I hope I haven't bamboozled you. We have got source references, and you know we can identify and put this through a more structured and easier learning, educational workshop, Masters Guild type thing that we're going to set up. There is a meeting at the 31st of March. I'm glad I remembered this, in Birmingham. So if you see our website domain, splspro.com, you'll find the information there. All are welcome, but we are a private common unity. So to get access and entry to our events and, you know, the trust eventually, then you'd have to email the details that are provided on that domain and make yourselves known. And then we'll check the admission. Anybody's welcome to join, and we will help and share any, valid and relevant information on both of the platforms, and encourage people to look, well, brothers and sisters, currently people, as Theresa May calls them in the United Kingdom, to look at the trust and equity and the subjects and key points mentioned within really help you. And then videos I've mentioned are some of the best on the domain. So enjoy. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Richard, as well. And see you soon. And thank you so much, David.
Peace, love, and light. All right, guys. Thank you. Ciao for now. All
Bye,
right.
darling.
It's been brilliant.
Bye, darling.
Keep up the good work. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, cheers, David.
Bye,
Nice one,
darling.
brother. Peace, love, and light.
Oh, and there he
Brilliant.
goes. My screen's just a bit caught now while that's it, he's going now. Wow. What can
That
we
was
say
brilliant.
after
That.
that?
Well done, Richard, for inviting him. That was brilliant. Honestly, good talker.
Oh yeah, definitely. Go and watch some of his videos, man. It for like half an hour. It just as soon as the video comes on, that's it. It starts talking. It just doesn't stop all the way through. It's just information constantly. It just all just goes in your head at once, and you're like, whoa! You just keep watching more and more and more, and then it all just sticks through. Just telling me to be quiet.
And it's nice that he's actually working. It's he's doing it, not just talking about it. He's doing something about it.
Yeah, he's definitely got the wheels in motion. He's doing stuff. I'm going to be looking a bit more deeply into his website. I have looked into it. Yeah, I need to dig a little deeper. I've seen a few videos that he's talked about from interesting stuff.
Yeah, it was nice. It was great hearing him as well. He's got a nice energy as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And just great. Someone's doing something. People are starting to do things. Much
That's
better than
right.
sitting in moaning and groaning.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's all coming together. I'm sitting and watching things, and they're all just everything's linking up, starting to fall into one place.
Yeah. Plus, he said that he was going to help people for people.life,
Yeah.
when that gets up and running. So that's also another bonus, isn't it? Because one, he's a nice guy, and two, he's quite knowledgeable, and three, we're going to need all the help we can get, really. So it's it's a bonus. I love meeting people like that. It's a bonus, man. It's good. We need more people like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Very intelligent person.
Yeah.
You're intelligent.
I am.
Steph's intelligent.
I wonder how it's going to work for him then, giving up. See, he doesn't want to work in the Globe Life anymore, does he?
No.
And he'll be working under. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to.
Was there anything? Sorry, carry on, Rich.
I fancy like just working for myself, doing stuff, not being under working for a corporation. Just do stuff for myself. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't think any of us sort of like the way it is and working for it, do we? We just don't anymore. Doesn't.
I do.
Be working to pay bills. That's it. Taxes and bills.
I like my job.
Steph likes
Hello.
it.
Yeah, you're on the hangout now.
That's it. You're on.
I like my job.
You're a nurse, yeah?
Midwife.
Midwife.
Yeah. I've been asking her about birth certificates and stuff.
Thing is, parents quite proud, aren't they, to go and get this birth certificate? No, don't do it now.
Is that what you're going to be telling people? No.
No. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do any of it. We have the hope is for our children, isn't it? That's what we're changing. Hopefully, or it's starting to change now. Is for our children and our children's children, because it'll probably take quite a few years to sort of reverse what they've done to us. You won't be able to. I mean, look how long they're taking just trying to split us up from Europe. Well, that's all a game, isn't it? Anyway. Patricia, are you there? Patricia? Patricia? Is she there? Oh, she's very quiet. Astral, Richard, is there anything else you'd like to say?
You don't need to explain.
I don't know.
I like the way he used words as well. You know, the one I'll never forget now is apart meant keeping us apart from everyone else. But he saw it all in the legal terminologies and not, yeah.
Yeah. Etymology does play a big part. You start realizing, and you find out that you're actually speaking like 2 different languages sometimes. You don't even realize.
Yeah,
Deceived by language.
I'm a bit dyslexic myself, just through this horrible system they brought out in the 60s to do with, it's called ITA, which is different phonics. But for years, I wrote a word just slightly wrong. Does, I put as dose. Now, in my mind, it was does. But what I was actually writing was dose. And this is what they've done to us, isn't it?
Mm.
I know mine's by accident, but it's the same thing. This is what they've done to us. Yeah, Astral's gone a bit quiet now. I don't know what we can say to sort of continue that on. He was amazing.
Yeah. It's
I
shame
couldn't-
that he has to go to bed so early to get up so early. But it says, yeah, he's quitting soon. I thought he'd already quit his work, but yeah, it says, I think he said he's got 1 shift left or something. Isn't it? Oh, yeah, he's going to be available a lot in the future.
Well, his webpage picks up. He'll probably be quite busy on there, won't he? Saving everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's going to be putting out a good service. He'll be doing a good thing.
I don't know what we can do after him to sort of carry on, because that was quite an amazing talk. I probably could have done with another half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. It would have been okay. I'd have still been listening.
Yeah.
Astral.
Definitely check out his channel. I've been looking at his videos for a good while, and yeah, he just literally comes on the video and it just rattles off all this information, and it all goes in, and then you watch another one and you just keep going. Yeah, he's got some good stuff out.
And that's actually on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it out again in the chat room.
What's this? Is that me?
Here I go. I'd like to say thank you to everybody in the chat room who's been there. Interesting talk. Is there anything else you want to say, Astral and Richard? Astral's muted there. Because we could, because I don't know what else to say after all that. It was amazing.
Yeah, good. Very interesting tonight. I like that.
He didn't he?
Into a lot of things, yeah. Very interesting. What can I say? It was interesting. But you need to get him back on again, Karen. Definitely need to get him back on again. We're not done there yet. Far from it. We're just beginning. Let's put it like that. I think there's just so much, and obviously the law is very deep. Yeah, I think we can benefit from having him come on the show again, at least a few times anyway, to give us the gist of things. What do you say, Richard?
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy watching him. I enjoy what he says and the way that he looks at things. Yeah, he's been putting out some good information himself, and is in it for the right things. And he's trying to help people. So yeah, I kind of want to help him as well, and help him do his stuff, whatever he's doing, if he ever did.
You did. More people know about him today.
Yeah. He also does engine cleaning with using hydrogen. I think it's Hydro Doctor or something. And I think I'm just want to just pay for him just because he's to come and sort my engine out, and then just because he's like trying to go and do stuff on his own, and not be reliant on working for a big corporation, yeah, paying billionaires and stuff.
Hey Astral, do you think any of that helped you a bit with what you've got to do next month?
Probably not, no, but I'll win anyway because, yeah, they're in the wrong. And if someone's in the wrong and someone's in the right, then obviously the ones that are in the right ought to win. So, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll let you know. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about, or do you think it's about, it's a nice time to end? Because I just don't think we can add to what he said, and hopefully people will watch the hangout again.
I'm good. If you are, Richard, it's 11:45 here now, and I don't like being too noisy at night.
Yeah. I can't really think to adding much. He spoke about a lot tonight.
Did. You added loads. You added David.
Yeah. By proxy.
Yeah. Again, I'd like to say thank you to everybody in the chat room. Big flat earth hugs to you, and big kisses, and to David, to Patricia, to Astral, to Richard, and his girlfriend. Sorry, what's your girlfriend called?
Steph.
And
Yeah.
to Steph. And we're back tomorrow. We are going to come on for a bit tomorrow, so we will see you tomorrow. So, good night from us.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Big hugs.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Love you all.
Love you
Oh,
all.
Patricia, you're there.
Yeah, I couldn't get to my mic. It
Ah.
disappeared.
Oh,
I'm like, oh.
before we go, do you want to say anything?
No, not really. I mean, well, other than it was just fantastic listening to him, and as usual, very informative and stuff. So, yeah, really good.
Thanks, Patricia. Anyway, we will see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.